which now we'll get into a little cutting, I guess, is safety when ripping. Before I get into that also, this is a pretty interesting detail. This is what your saw comes with, generally. Nice half-inch or larger throat opening, and I never used it once. Immediately got rid of that and started buying blanks. Well, I didn't buy blanks, I made blanks. In this case, you could use half-inch or 5/8 inch. I use double-sided melamine, single-sided melamine, doesn't matter. It's pretty stable. This is actually on flake board. It should be on MDF, but I never had a problem. And try to design, you got to use this as your template. So I don't even bother to wrap it. I just use a knife. Well, the one good thing about black is if you lay your template on the top and you take a knife, one of those retractable knives, but the ones that have the long blade, you'll be able to scribe, a nice line around there, and then just take your finger and wipe it, and you have a beautiful, very, very small white line to cut on your bandsaw. It takes 2 minutes to cut out one of these things. But it's very important to have as zero tolerance as you can get. Does everybody understand why? Not only because you don't want stuff to fall down and get trapped in the blade, which is important, but you'll get a cleaner cut. The less clearance there is, the cleaner there won't be splintering from the wood. So after you make your template, after you make your blank, I should say, you don't have any cuts in it. Now you can go to a lot of lengths to get it to fit in here. But one thing you'll almost always realize is you can't just sit it there. You've got to create a curve in there somehow. And the easiest thing that I've always found, some people might be scared of this, but it really shouldn't. Nothing should really ever happen. Is you turn on your saw and put the blade all the way down, set to 90. That's all there is to it. Some people will measure from the fence to get the exact spot where the saw curve is. There's nothing to it. It's really not much of a danger, as long as you keep the crusher down here and let the blade pull the insert down. Now you've got the saw curve in there. You set your fence over your insert, but make sure you're not anywhere near your blade. And turn it on. Zero clearance insert. And you can set it for different blade heights too. The question was, do you screw it down in there? Some models is almost impossible to do that. Unless you devise some kind of clip that will. In this particular one, they don't have. I could probably drill a hole through the top of this and do the same thing, but I haven't had a need to. The action of the saw, if it's a snug fit, the action of the saw with the blade spinning this way will tend to keep the insert down. I wouldn't recommend not screwing it down. I would say screw it down if you can. Your saw will allow you. Push sticks. My recommendation is those fish type, the ones that are just like a stick, a little cutout for the mouth. Try to avoid those. I don't see them as being safe. I've never used them. I don't think that they really are safe because you could slip with them. Exactly. There's a slip factor. I see a lot of people using, in the left hand as they're ripping a piece, and I just see the occurrence of slipping could be a lot greater than if you used a shoe type. This I designed myself, but there are a million that look just like it. So, like feather boards, yeah. Well, for push sticks, you can make them for all different width cuts. This is 3/4. This is 1/4 inch. This is 1/8 inch, and you can even go to less than that if you want to invest in another type of aid. This has a really good grip on it. It's called the gripper. And what I've found with this design is it allows the blade to pass through the channel here, and you can keep your stock as close to the fence and rip as small as a 32nd of an inch without any problems. It's a really great design, but I can't spend a lot of time.
Use Lexan, not plexiglass.
Oh yeah, yes. Yeah, nobody should ever use plexiglass. I hope nobody.
Plexiglass shattered like glass.
Yeah.
Less end will cut very nicely and bend, but it won't shatter.
MDF is cheap material. If you have MDF, use MDF. You're going to go through the stuff like crazy anyway.
Anybody here who's in his shop work or her shop working, make sure your family understands to knock on the door.
Yes.
Before they come barging in.
Absolutely.
Because you're going to flinch, and it seems very obvious, but they don't know it.
That's right. But feather boards are aids in keeping your workpiece against the fence, and generally you're set only in front. Is that in front or behind the blade? This is considered
closer to you.
I've heard it both.
Before the cut.
Closer to you, right? Before the cut. It's not a good idea to reach over and grab your workpiece, but make sure that you feed it all the way through. Walk around to the side and grab it. I just get lazy. You know, what can I say? But that is the right way to do it. Feed it through all the way. And if you notice, set up this outfeed table. If you don't have this for your saw, why even bother? You know, you have to have an outfeed. That benchtop saw comes with a removable outfeed, which is great. It only goes out about a foot or so, but set up something. Rollers? No. Who disagrees with me on rollers? I'll tell you. You may use it, but if you're cutting this, which you're going to see me do, there's no way you're going to have rollers. No way you're going to have rollers. Invest in an outfeed table that could be one that you design yourself, that has folding legs, that will come down, you know, somewhat. I guess the contractor saw it's going to be hard. But an outfeed table is really, really the best idea for running it.
What about the kind you pull up? Like the rollers? That attaches the
Yeah, that'll be fine too. You know, the roller stands can tip over. It has the potential for tipping over, the roller stands.
Oh, I see.
And I have seen more than one instance where it was improperly set up and caused the roller started to tip and caused the piece to fall before the cut, kicking back. So you've got to be very careful. I don't recommend roller setups. If you have it and it works, great. How do you actually measure the height of your blade if you're cutting dados? The best things are those little template things that they sell, plastic metal, where they have it's like a staircase type thing. Or a test piece, but that thing is a pretty accurate gauge. They sell them at home. They sell them everywhere. You didn't find one accurate? Test piece would be best bet. But they also have those rules, and Jim McCullen probably has one on. One of those very, very small rulers. You don't have it on it? Yeah. Some of them have little fences too. Again, the ripping operation. Don't ever stand to the right of your fence. Don't ever do it. Don't ever stand too far to the left. You're not going to get the proper balance and the proper feed. I'm always standing where my hip, right side of my hip, is in line with the blade. If it kicks back, it won't get me in the crotch. It'll get me here. I have a belt on. You know, keep in mind that once you get it to the saw, you're better off not having two people run it through, because you don't know what the other person's thinking, and you'll bind the blade and so on. No, just grab that bottle. But let's rip 3 inches off this. It's really not that difficult to rip a full sheet of plywood. And in my shop, I don't have the table, I don't have the height to be able to stand it up on end, set it at a certain point, and drop it down like this. I don't have that luxury. So what I do is I get underneath it, like this. All right? Usually I have the saw going first. Again, you want to be outside this. Right where I want it. Right where I always am. I ended up with the exact same spot that I do when I normally rip. Just in that same spot, in the same direction. The biggest problem was I didn't have the outfeed table set where it should have been, and that's why it took so long. After many years of experience, this may save a lot of time for you people, is to go out and get one of these at Woodworkers Warehouse for like $15 or $20. It's that clamp guy. Set it, lock it down, and take a circular saw and cut. Cross cut first, and you can rip later on. This here made my porta cable is the best one I've ever come across. And they make a 42 combination blade, splinter free of this plywood.